Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Stink Bug Works. One of my viewers asked me to talk about the differences between the H&M micro shovel nose hydroplane and the MHZ micro shovel nose. And first, let's talk about these and why I have them and what they're doing and all that. Back in the days, and this was, oh God, when would it be? It'd be around 2000, give or take. They had a class limited spec hydro, and you ran a speed 700 motor and I believe 12 or 14 NiCad cells. And this was real popular for a couple of years because it was a good sized boat and it had good power and they ran good. And, electrics were still in their infancy. It was the high-end racers were going brushless and everybody else that was knocking about the pond was going brushed. And there were some racers still using brushed motors. So it was a period of transition. And we started going out to Santee Lakes and soon discovered that the bigger boats just ran out of room real quick. So we developed our own little limited spec, if you would, class. Now, the LSH, limited spec hydro, once again, was a speed 700 motor and so many cells. So we limited ourselves to this Mystery 3000 motor, and we selected this motor because it had about the right KV, and it was dirt cheap. It could be had for $10, even back then, so that was our spec class, and this was enough motor to occasionally, if you're going into the wind, you could blow them off the water if you weren't careful. So it was just enough power. They were fun to drive. They were a hoot. You could, hey, watch this. And if you weren't careful, you'd wind up upside down. So, you had to drive the things. So here's the main differences I see in the MHZ and the H&M. I think the MHZ might be a little lighter layup. The transom's a bit narrower. I thought these sponsons were deep. These are really deep. This is a wider boat. This is narrower and longer. It has a higher aspect ratio. This one has about 4 or 5 degrees of dead rise. This one only has maybe 1 or 2 degrees of dead rise. So this one has a lot more dead rise. This one has a little bit different non-trip. This one's a little longer. None of them have extended air traps. All the air comes to here and spills out. This, with the power setup I'm planning on this one, it would work just fine in here too. You could use this hull for the system I'm planning. This, when I got it, was actually available from MHZ with the stuffing tube and motor mount installed, the strut installed, and the rudder installed. All you had to do was put in your servo and, of course, the rest of the electronics. So there you go. It wasn't limited sport hydro LSH. We called it SSSH, Santee Sport Scale Hydroplane. So we could resurrect the old SSSH, limited spec. We could spec you out this motor and this drive in any old hydroplane you want. And we'll have to see how this runs on 2S and 3S. 3S, that would be 11 times 40, 44,000 RPM. That's a bit high for something like this. You know, we ran these on 6 cells, and they did just great on 6 cells. 8 cells is about the equivalent of 2S. 8 cells, 7 cells is about the equivalent of 2S. That'd been 7.4 volts. Yeah. Oh, that'd be 6S, wouldn't it? Anyway, I can't do math in my head. So therein is the basic differences. MHZ does not sell this stuffing tube, but I do believe they sell this Chinese rudder. So have what you will, but what I'm going to do on this one, I could just as easily do on this one. I think handling's going to be different, but not very much different. I mean, this one is definitely wider with a lower dead rise. So it might be faster in the straights. This one might go around corners better. You just have to try them and see. And then, of course, my paint scheme. John Deere and a farmer. And look, he's wearing a MAGA hat. My sense of humor. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.